In the previous videos, we made dynamic blocks to represent our electrical symbols to be placed throughout the house. We then modeled the interior with furniture to be able to know where best to place our electrical symbols. The use of these electrical symbols will create the electrical plan. In order to get started, let's again copy what we previously made. Let's move it over 315 feet. And then we can get started. We may not have the furniture layer turned on at all times during our creation of the electrical plan, but again, having the furniture laid out, including cabinets and appliances, will help us better understand what type of lighting to use, special connections, and where to place our wall outlets and switches. The nice part about creating these previously is that we can now simply Control-C to copy and Control-V to place our electrical symbols wherever we'd like them, and then we can select between the different options. For example, over this dining table, currently we have a sconce selected. We can change this to a light fixture, which would represent something along the lines of a chandelier. Additionally, we can then paste above the kitchen area and change each of these to recessed lighting. Recessed lighting is more common in places like the kitchen. We'll continue to place our lighting fixtures throughout the house, ensuring that we're lighting the most general locations where lighting would be required or necessary. Additionally, we can place lighting outside for things like lighting the porch and lighting the backyard. We'll also place some extras in the bathroom to be able to add lighting above the sink and mirror. I think we have all of the lighting fixtures we really need. I think I'm going to remove this one in the closet even. We'll want to keep it in things like the washer and dryer room or this hallway closet, because we'll need some form of light when we open it. Having one in the entryway, living room, the main room, above the dining table, and throughout the kitchen and hallway. The ones that I've placed over here will change to sconces and rotate them to fit on the wall. Now that we have all of our lighting and its different types placed throughout our house, let's move on to special connections. Again, special connections are used for phone line, internet, and cable. The most common places for these would be anywhere we want to place a landline and wherever we'd want to have an internet connection. For example, having the phone line and internet line near an entertainment center is fairly common. Additionally, we have a desk in the master suite, and we can place these along the wall behind them. Finally, let's put one more phone connection near the kitchen in the hallway. You could add more of any of these lights and connection types if you'd like, but for the simple home, these are plenty. Finally, we move on to wall outlets and switches. Residential building code states that for electrical outlets, no point of the wall along the floor shall be more than 6 feet from a receptacle. What this means for us is that outlets should be placed within 6 feet of an opening or a door, and then along the wall no more than 12 feet apart from one another. So because we know that this wall is 5 feet, let's place one just around the corner here. Additionally, we'll place one back behind the entertainment center, and then no more than 12 feet beyond this receptacle. And we'll place one around this corner, another here. We'll make sure to put one on this side of the sink, another on this side of the sink, and then one behind the refrigerator. Continue this pattern throughout the home, making sure that you hit almost every major wall. It's also a good practice to place receptacles near sinks for using handheld appliances like hair dryers. Now that we've placed all of our outlets, let's rotate them to make sure that they fit where they should be. The last electrical symbol that we need to place within our model are switches. Switches, of course, represent wall switches that turn on lights. Switches should be placed in every room that has a light fixture located in the center of the room. Multiple switches can be placed next to one another if you feel there should be multiple ways to turn the lights on and off in the room. For example, in the front room and dining room, we don't necessarily want to turn all the lights on in this room simultaneously. We maybe want to turn these 3 on, or these 2 on by themselves, this one on separately, the dining table light on separately, and the light throughout the kitchen on separately. So we'll place 1, 2, 3, 4 different switches. It's also a good practice to try and place at least 2 switches in different locations for one string of lights. Additionally, you want a switch for each light that's on the exterior of the home as well. Once your switches are placed and facing the proper directions, we'll then need to connect the switches to represent which lights the switch operates. As you can see in the electrical plan for this video, we represent these switch connections with a dashed spline. For this part, we're going to want to turn the furniture layer off and use just the electrical layer. We'll use the spline command, which allows you to draw a line that can curve through multiple points. For fixtures that are located on a wall, like the one outside, although we have a switch to control it, we don't need to use a spline electrical line to represent its connection, only those that are in the center of rooms. I'm going to redo this spline line, as this is the lighting for over the dining table and will be separate, but we'll still connect this line of lighting to this switch over here. Once you've drawn these electrical connections, we can then change these lines to be dashed. We've seen line types within the layer properties, but you can always change the properties of individual lines without having to change the layer under the Properties panel. We'll choose Other, load a dashed line, and make sure that each of the lines have been selected with the dashed line type. To finish up our electrical plan, we'll make a key on the left side of the home, including all of the electrical symbols we've used and made, so that it can be easily identified later. We'll place a rectangle around our key to separate it out, and we've now finished our electrical plan. Again, similar plans can be created for things such as plumbing and HVAC systems, but this is the only one that we'll do as a detailed plan for our home. In the next video, we'll go over landscaping the house and making site plans.